Hello, this is Falterfire, and today's video is going to be a run with a Paladin summoning list. So I've recorded one of these videos already, but it was on a beta patch that is quite a bit different from the live version. So I wanted to show off the version of the Summoner Paladin list that I have now that reflects all of the most recent changes. So before we get started, here is the things that I have bought from market. The most important thing is I do have a reroll token going in. So the actual deck, we have our key card is Deploy Turret. This is going to be our primary damage output source, of course. We have a lot of mana cards. We have 2 quick starts, a focus, 2 resolute focus. We do not have any ways to generate energy in our starting deck, and part of that is because this deck doesn't apply a lot of its own status. We do have Ferric Rhyme, which is going to do some amount of work in helping us get some freezes occasionally and arcane detonate some things, which is going to be useful to us. This card, the Ferric Rhyme, I think is the most flexible card. I could see changing it for something else. We're using Overflowing Barrier as our defensive card because it's very cheap and it gives a lot of shield, and we want to be able to have as much mana as necessary to play our Deploy Turret, which is going to be our priority upgrade. So if you haven't seen Blasting Turret, so if you've seen other summoning lists, we use Thriving Spirit. And so Thriving Spirit is 6 mana, you get an allied Angry Spirit, and then you give the first ally, which if you only have 1 will be that spirit you just summoned, powerful 1 and tough 2, which means that Thriving Spirit, the first time you play it, you get a spirit that will be attacking for 4x2. It's 4 instead of 3 because it has the powerful 1. And then that's just 8 damage to the first enemy every turn for the rest of the fight. And if you play more Thriving Spirits, you will get either more spirits or increase the amount of damage done by the one you have. Deploy Turret starts a lot lower in terms of damage. You start at 2 damage to the first enemy, and then the turret gets powerful 2, so next turn it will do 4, and then 6, and then 8, which means that you may have noticed right off the bat, that means that we have to do 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4th turn we're doing as much damage as Thriving Spirit was doing on turn 1. The flip side of this is that Deploy Turret has a condition when we can't summon where we'll give the front ally an extra turn. Now, unupgraded, this isn't very interesting. But once you upgrade it, it goes to Frenzy 2, which means that the front turret will act twice. And if we're using turrets, that means that we have this effect where they are scaling up each time they activate. So Blasting Turret will then get stronger. The other thing is, Deploy Turret Plus summons a Blasting Turret Plus. And Blasting Turret Plus, instead of dealing 2 damage base, does 4 damage base. Instead of gaining 2 powerful, gains 3. So Blasting Turret Plus will scale up faster, and the Frenzy 2 will be incredibly useful to it. So, as you might imagine, these are our priority upgrades. The other cards in the deck, we have Hobble to apply weak, Frozen Hide to get tough, and sometimes that Frost Barrier will be relevant, especially with the Ferric Rhyme. In the card pool, we have Increasing Mana and Spry Vigor as our mana cards. Our other epics, we have probably the Chaotic Barrier I want to swap out. I haven't been super impressed with it in most decks. We have Rallying Command as one of our key cards. If we can get this card, the fights will go much better because this will trigger the action of all of our allies twice and upgraded it 3 times, which is incredibly powerful. Spirit Shield I also don't think I want in this particular deck. I do not want to be sacrificing my turrets because I want them to stay alive. So choosing other cards that we might want instead, I think this might actually be a decent deck for Descent into Madness, which is a card that I haven't used as much as I would like. It may actually be a good Eye of the Storm deck since we don't get a ton of value by supercharging. And that just gives us additional card draw to work with. It's also possible that I want another shield card, but we'll see how things go this run. As for other cards we could use, we have Cultivate because we do want growth. We do have other mana cards. We do not have Runic Focus because we don't have spells. We do have Weary Concentration because it's mana. It is kind of tempting to put an Endure. I don't think we are quite in a position to use that, but I could see including it. Let me think. I think we do have Deploy Turret in the pool. I go back and forth on whether we want Deploy Shield, which is the other Paladin summon, because the downside to Deploy Shield is that if we're not careful, so the upside is it can be a very useful card. The downside is it can take up space. If it ends up being our front ally, we really don't want to frenzy the shield. We do want to frenzy a turret, and that can be awkward sometimes. But I think it is worthwhile regardless. Aside from that, I think we do want to make sure Aid is in the card pool, because Aid is a way to protect our turrets, and protecting our turrets is very, very important. Trying to think what I would cut to make room. I think it may be the Surprise Attack. Surprise Attack can be a kind of awkward card in this deck because, well, no, because getting those credits out of the turrets is very valuable. Might be the Overthink. I hate cutting card draw. How much mana do we have? We can afford to cut we can cut the Arms Race. It doesn't do that much for us. I think we have enough other mana cards. Okay, so that's the deck. And away we go. Let's see how this rolls. This would normally be useful, but we don't actually have any strikes, and we don't really plan to pick any up, so I'm going to just take the Permanent Powerful, which also isn't going to do a ton for us, but does make the Ferric Rhyme a little bit better. As far as fights go here, I do like dodging most of them. Although there are a few cards I want to pick up, and obviously if we don't get in fights, we don't get cards. But I think that events, because if we can get free upgrades from the events, that will be very, very valuable, and we'll be very, very happy. All right, and so let's go ahead and... Actually, we do not want to deal with that one, because it would be advantageous for us to get hit by this, because it will exact damage and give us a charge up plus. And we do get some value out of supercharging. I said that that wasn't our goal, and although that is true, we do not particularly care about supercharging. It's not useless. Alright, I think we're going to give more shield. There we go. And then I think we're going to do that and then into the turn. Alright, let's get some temporary powerful and then blow you up. Bonk and bonk. So yeah, not the fastest deck, but it does work. Take some card draw. Sure. None of this does a ton for us. The ability to give ambush can be valuable. Alright, so far not the best events, but not terrible. Left. And we get the upgrade. That's very, very good to see. Alright, so I do not know in this fight, I don't remember offhand how many AoE attacks this thing has. I don't know if my turrets are just going to die or not. Let's play Hobble, which won't do a ton right away, but it will draw us an extra card next turn. gain the energy. So we can't quite freeze, but we can blow up the Envenom for a turn, which is a reasonable bonus. And it is worth going ahead and getting more shield because we are going to take 9 poison. And there's the Frost Barrier doing work. Okay. Okay, so we are guaranteed to draw mana if we do this. And we can get out another one of the big turrets, which is very much worthwhile. Use the Sticky Flask. Absolutely summon a final turret. And we may as well do this now. So yeah, you'll notice our turrets are slowly getting stronger. All right, this will detonate off stuff, but it won't do that much. I would like to find, yeah, some of our shield, because we are taking a good amount of damage this turn. I also want to do this. And that. I didn't even realize I was going to be able to get out of freeze, but I am very happy to see that to have done so. Alright, and that should be the fight. We just want a little bit more shield so that we don't take any damage this turn. And we can even apply Frenzy 2 to our front turret, but our front turret will not quite get a turn. Let's see if we can get the most valuable card. There it is. That is incredibly good luck. Rallying Command is an insanely powerful card in this deck, and getting it immediately is going to have a huge impact on what we're able to do. There have been runs where I never see that card, and they are substantially slower and less impressive in terms of what they do. All right. Let's see, can I hit 0? Yes. All right, we can trigger the actions of our allies twice. Which, yeah, you can see just very quickly doing quite a lot of work. I don't think it's worth applying vulnerable yet, because this one's going to die anyway, but it's going to take 2 hits. And that should be lethal. Okay, we need more mana, but we also really need the Spirit Helmet. That's one of the cards that's very important to have later. Shield gained on health loss is nice. I still don't really have anything I want to cut. I think everything we have is pretty important, but having more mana is absolutely a priority at this point. So I want to play this, but I also really want to play this Frozen Hide. Oh, but we're already tough, but Frozen Hide will freeze both of the back ones, which is very valuable. This will do 4 plus 7 is 11, plus then another 10, which is 21, so it's not enough to kill you. Let's just get that up, because it, like I said, it will freeze the back ones. And then we can end the turn. And Shield Bot is doing work. All right. The reflect here is actually pretty annoying to us because it means that we can't easily do everything we want to do. All right, that's going to freeze us, so we want to do that last. We want to do that because that will kill and mean that I think we're going to do that for the chance at the insta-kill. Summon another turret. Get a bunch of shield. Freeze ourselves. Alright. So these guys didn't get any powerful on their first turn because they didn't have... They froze themselves on the barrier before they actually got their attack off. Okay, so that's mana. But we won't be able to use the mana. Oh, we can, because we can use the charge up to power it. Which feels a little bit silly, but there you go. And then we can do this, which will get that kill. Just took a little bit of damage there, but not too bad. I don't hate having another deploy turret. So I don't hate having surprise attack. We're kind of soft on mana right now, so I think I take the surprise attack. We're going to take this just in the hopes that we can find more mana. This card is not doing as much as I would like right now, just because I can't afford to pay for the exhaustions a lot of the time. Let's go ahead and do that. I think we want to get rid of the exhaustion and play a shield. You're now bleeding, which is unfortunate, but we can also Ferric Rime to blow up some of the buffs on this one. All right, and it will freeze because we have, and that will ensure that we get the kill here. Alright, that is lethal. Didn't even need to do that, could have just ended the turn, but we really need a Sanctuary at some point, but we don't need it just yet, and we do really need mana, so mana it is. Charges created on kill is fine. It's kind of tempting to cut the Overthink, but I think we're going to want it later. But we don't really need it now, and we do need the mana. Yeah, I think we're going to cut it for the moment. We'll probably pick up another one later, but right now, our mana just doesn't support it. So these guys do have AoE attacks, which could pose a problem for us. Also, our temporary tough buff wore off, so we will have to play Frozen Hide. Yeah. Okay, so we need to get shield on this. We want to get tough, but we also really want to get deploy turret out so we can get as much damage as possible. I think this turret is going to die. I don't think there's anything we can do about that. But I think if we don't get tough, we're going to explode, which we would rather not have happen. All right, and they have tough, and we are weak, and the combination of that means that the Ferric Rime isn't going to do enough. Interesting. I don't know why it only did 6 damage. Oh, because we're vulnerable, so we had to counteract that. Okay. Okay. So they are going to really go to town on the arcane thing. Which is annoying. But not lethal. This turret is probably doomed, though. We want to get one shield out before we supercharge. Alright, let's play that. This will freeze us. Yeah, not quite enough. Okay, but we didn't quite... The turret didn't die. So that's nice. Right, and that will kill. Let's get redraw. This is better. But that will still leave us with mana, so we will trigger the actions of all allies twice. Let's Spirit Helmet. Get a little bit of shield up. Vulnerable out. Trying to just think through what I want to do here. Hobble, see what we draw. And I think we will go ahead and do this. And that will mean that we now have one jerk left. That jerk is hitting very, very hard, but we're hitting harder. And so that went very well. We got a little bit lucky that we didn't ever lose. Our turret didn't ever get blown up. I think we're going to reroll here, and I'm going to take the mana. It's very, very dangerous to not take this cleanse here, but we need the mana so badly. Permanent Plated is absolutely going to be better than that. And we're going to upgrade the Rallying Command to be even stronger. We do need to work on taking mana at some point, though. Or work on upgrading mana at some point, probably. Pulverize is worse for this deck than it normally would be. The downside of having burned that reroll is now I no longer have it to use on this. So, let me think. Would I take a Rocky Hide? And would I like it more than the other option? I think yes. I think Rocky Hide is a card that I would want. It gives me 2 shots at it. And I get an event, so that's nice. Alright, this is actually a wonderful turn to have Ferrous Rime up, because it means that we can prevent Plated from getting set up. Which is going to help us quite a bit. We are unfortunately going to explode, but that happens sometimes. Bonk. Alright. And there goes that one. But you can see just like Rallying Command does such an immense amount of work in terms of getting us towards kills. Let's see. Yeah, because we can just do this. And boom. That's lethal. I want mental growth. I think we cannot. Can we pass up Sanctuary against Emerald? I think we can. I think having access to that growth is going to be very helpful. Sure. Summoner decks don't have really any items that specifically benefit them, which can mean that you end up in these situations like right now where I just don't have much in terms of cards that directly support the plan. Let's see if we can find a rallying command. Yep. Okay. Let's see. We are going to explode, but the golem cannot one-shot our turrets. Okay. So we are going to apply weak and play Spirit Helmet to get some shield up. And our turrets are going to continue doing their thing. Alright, we are unfortunately condemned to explode. But if we're going to explode anyway, let's at least get what we can before we do. Alright, we unfortunately lost that roll to get that kill. Because what we were counting on was if either of those had crit, and we'd set them up to have a 50% chance to crit, so there was a 75% chance that you would have gotten that kill there. And we just did not roll well on that 75%, unfortunately. Okay, this should be lethal. And yes, I would take the Rocky Hide. I still desperately need more mana. This gives us a 50% chance of getting a very good mana card, though, so that's value. This also gives us a chance to build up. Alright. See what this draws us. Okay. If I supercharge, I now have enough to blow up another stack of that plated. And then playing that is basically break even. Just lets me get out of supercharge mode now. So newly summoned enemies now do not get a turn. They show up. Which is nice for us. Squeeze and draw. I think we're going to summon a turret, and then we're going to trigger actions. Oh, I should have done that first. Oops. Might have actually gotten the kill. We're going to get the kill anyway. I absolutely love to see it. This does absolutely nothing for us. None of these are particularly useful to us. We're just going to discard these. I can use this Varric but I don't really want to. I want to use that Arcane Detonation when it's going to help. I do not remember if this enemy has an AoE attack. We are going to be taking quite a lot of damage, though. which is regrettable, but there's not a ton we can do about it, unfortunately. Go and do that, actually. See what we can find. Let's go and do that. All right. All right. And there's the win. Yeah, took a lot of damage there. God, you can't make me make these choices. Rallying Command is just so insanely powerful. I just can't justify not taking it. I don't think we need the Sticky Flask now. But I think we have to upgrade a mana card here. I think it's probably Focus. And I think we are cutting nothing still. I still just do not have things I want to cut. We do really need to upgrade the Spirit Helmet as well. Okay, so we need to hit 0. I like the idea of blowing you up. I need to get a turret out. I wanted to avoid exploding, but getting a turret out is more important. Alright, and now we're going to explode again. And we're going to take a little bit of damage. So this is going to kill the front one, and I think the one behind it? No, not quite. So the reason that stuff is happening is that we have shield bot, but we are supercharged, so we can't actually get shield bot bonuses. Right. And we explode. Almost. Bonk. Okay. Donk. We could use some healing. If we could have like a little bit of light healing, that would also help. But we need this cleansing shield because we really need some way to cleanse. And I've passed up all the other cleanse options so far. And yes, I know that doing that set me up to get shocked, but all right. Let's see. If I play both of these. I'm going to start with that. Supercharge. It's a little unfortunate that I can't quite play this, because obviously that is the thing I would like to play. But I think that's worth it. Alright, that's going to kill the front one. And do... Alright, so we did get the crit that was going to get us that kill there, which is nice. I think we're just going to get a bunch of shield. And then it works out. All right. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping to find any mana. Yeah, definitely that helps. Definitely I just need kind of more mana so I can afford to actually play all these cards. This fight could actually be very risky. And this is obviously not the best opening hand we could have asked for. But now our problem is that our luck is terrible. Okay, this is actually very, very bad. Because now we are going to get frozen for, I think, 3 consecutive turns. Yeah. 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 Okay. And now it's time to get frozen again. Fortunately, we won't get chain frozen again. I think we have to get this tough out, even though it risks us getting frozen again. Okay. So we summon another turret. We're going to trigger actions of allies, which is going to get us some kills. We are going to draw cards. That makes that easier. I should have frozen this one. I wasn't thinking. I didn't think I had the freeze. Because we are going to get frozen again here. But this time, okay, yeah, that fight just went terribly. I made mistakes. I really want that Sanctuary. I really want this to Valorize. I think I need the Sanctuary more. Alright, and we have to rest before we go into this last fight. I think we're just going to restore more health so that I don't have to rest again. Should I rest again just to be safe? Yeah, we've got plenty of rests, and I would hate for this run to just die. Take the more max mana. Okay. So As you may have noticed, one of the downsides of this deck is that if I can't find a summon on the first couple turns, and that's one of the reasons I should be cutting cards more aggressively. Go so far as to say is the main reason I should be cutting cards more aggressively is that if I cannot get summons out, I am in a lot worse position. Unfortunately, my summon cards are hiding at the bottom of my deck, which is kind of the opposite of where I would want them to be. All right. Don't really want to play that because I don't really want to get closer to shocking myself. Okay. So we need to get shields out, but this does so much damage it's hard not to play it. And then we will just play this and eat the relatively small amount of damage we take. So fortunately, Frost Barrier. We can detonate off one of those plated stacks. And now we win. Maybe we'll do that. Because yeah, that turn doesn't do any damage to us, and there's our kill. So the fight didn't do anywhere near as much pain to us as I was worried it might. Light and Communion doesn't do that much for us. Eye of the Storm actually seems pretty reasonable. Arcane Silence though would have also been pretty good. We'll take more shield. I think we will upgrade this. And I've got to cut something at some point, right? I should. God, making choices is hard. I don't like making choices. You can't force me to make choices. Okay, we are fighting Bea later, which means that this fight is less important. The summons from this card does drop, this guy does drop a summoning card, but it's not actually that good for us. Trying to think who I want to fight. This fight gives us clear focus, which is very good. I don't hate Pilfering Shell. I think we'll start here and see how this fight goes. I don't know that I want to fight Shadowbone Elemental with a summoning deck. So I've had mana issues, and now I'm at this awkward point where I do need the card drawback so that I can, when I get that all that extra mana in one hand, because I do still have a very expensive deck, I can still use a lot of mana. But shield because we are taking a lot of damage. Oh, I should have played that charge up. My bad. Okay, yeah, because I can play this into Rallying Command even if I don't draw any mana, which is what happened. Alright, there we go. There's some mana, which will let me play. Could play the Spirit Helm for no shield on myself. I think I just want to get this out. Okay, cool. This will let me pop off a powerful stack and prevent more powerful stacks from getting set up. It's possible the Ferric Rhyme is the card I should have cut. But yeah, like I mentioned, you know, there was that early turn where it felt like, oh, I just have too much mana. And the answer is no, I don't have too much mana. I just don't have good ways to get through my deck on turns where I draw all my mana and nothing to go with it. I'm just going to draw 2. Okay. I don't hate just detonating another powerful stack. And conveniently, this thing is actually going to freeze when it actually, it may not get a turn. Yeah, it's just going to get blown up. And then, this is going to be a little bit awkward. Oh no, because it died during, so it didn't get a turn initially. Which is great. But yeah, the vulnerable doesn't do much because the vulnerable only applies to the base 4 damage. But the ambush does because the critical is applied after the powerful bonus. And there's Frost Barrier doing work for me. Goodbye. Contemplate. Ignore this. Okay, no. I was hoping to get an upgrade because that's one of the things you can get when you choose to find something else. Crit chance, crit damage, none of that does anything. Fixed shock doesn't do a ton. Cleanse I would take if I was fighting Maw. Okay, so now it's time for the moment of truth. Do I want to deal with a Shadowbone Elemental? Can I deal with a Shadowbone Elemental? Or do I go right? I think I just go right. Purity buff is nice. Right, so this fight can do a lot of damage. That helps. Alright. I think we're playing that this turn. Oh, I should have. I thought I wasn't going to have the man. I thought I wasn't going to be able to drop out a supercharge because I wasn't paying enough attention. That's fine. I think I will burn a reroll on turn to Gunk here. Most likely, I think turn to Gunk is a card that I would be very happy to have. Right, that's not doing anything this turn. Yeah, Shocked is also not doing a ton for me because Shocked only applies to the base 4 damage on the turrets. Okay, this Gets me a kill. Regrettably, it does not get me any mana. I also need more, let's get that out. Yeah, mana is an issue, and there's something else I was going to say. Weak. Having consistent weak out is an issue. We didn't even have to reroll for it. I like Turn to Gunk. It's another source of tough, and it's another source of healing, both of which are things that I kind of need. Or it is a source of healing. We don't have any right now. So saying another is misleading. We are unfortunately going to explode. Oh, wrong button. Okay. Let's draw 4. Let's see. Okay. Summon a turret. Rallying command plus. Turn the charge up to Gunk. Let me think. First of all, what is this going to do? Okay, that will kill that one. Okay, yeah, we will play this, and then just go ahead and tag you for damage. Just go ahead and get that out. Gotten a little bit lucky that the Prowler hasn't decided to try and AoE. There's the AoE, but it is not going to show up in time. Prowler is dead. This guy is annoying, but will not be able to stop us. The reason it's annoying is because of that arcane barrier. But we don't quite explode. And also in the category of things that aren't quite exploding are summons. More tough. And then we can just draw literally a full hand of cards. Alright. Yeah, summon I said wasn't quite exploding. Yeah, still doesn't quite. And there we go. Lethal. And clear focus is great. Love to see it. This is incredibly good. Current Powerful is very, very low value for us. Rallying Command Plus is very, very high value for us. Great fight overall. Hey, we get one of these immediately. I think these are AoE attacks, so I don't want to double this turret. I mean, I do want to double the turret, but I'm worried that it's just going to die here. And I don't want to bother frenzying or doing that if the turret, yeah, it's just going to immediately get paved. Although, I'm very happy with this. Even though we didn't have a card to transform, we do still get a little bit of heal. Draw one. Alright, so this will at least give me a detonation. so this doesn't actually do anything, or I guess it does. I was thinking that my thing was just going to die, but that's not quite accurate. Okay, I can do this. You're already getting a kill out. But I can't play the Sanctuary without taking a kill away, so let's do this. Which will lead to my turret unfortunately dying, but we are now in a pretty good position because we managed to avoid getting doomed. I could have played that rallying command, but I wanted to get out just double turret, so the next rallying command does even more. I think this is the turn what would have done the AoE curse again, so dodging that is nice. And it doesn't freeze me. And I can draw up to a full hand. I don't think we need that, but we do want that. And we can draw the turn to gunk. Get that little bit of healing out. Donk. And also donk. Okay. Very close to a win. And we don't need that right now. Bonk. So, we can afford the corrupted font. This, what are we fighting left? That makes this fight more tenable. But I don't know that I don't want to go through two of those fights. I really don't want to fight any bog golems at all, but I don't have a choice. Okay, so any path I take, I'm fighting at least one bog golem. This fight, though, seems particular because it has this Shadow Flame Scout. Normally, some decks wouldn't be too bad against it, but I do not like the idea of having to chip through that with the turrets. So I think we're going to avoid that fight, and we're going to go right. The Purity is not the most useful thing. It's not useless, but it's not the most useful either. And I think I like the things I have more. Well, we can afford to get rid of that. Oh, cancel. That's why that was added. That message to prevent me from doing what I almost just did. This upgrade is very good. That may be the take. Yeah. Yep, I think that's the upgrade. And then I still don't have any cuts that I want to make, although I should probably cut the Ferric Rhyme. But it is still doing enough work that I don't quite want to do that. The secret cache may actually be low value at this point. Okay, we're going to go here and see what we get. Sure. That was basically a nothing tile, which we're totally fine with. Okay. So, this one's going to be a pain in the butt. You take a lot of damage. Shield bot still MVP. Always and forever. Okay, so we are going to get to use this, which is going to be nice. Would have liked to find... Okay, that's not what I was going to say. I think we actually... Yeah, that's ugly. But I think we need this shield. because of health. Yeah, and now we are very cursed. And we're getting more cursed. Lovely. Right, let's pop you. And draw a full hand of cards. Okay. I think I do want to do that first. Wait, why Frenzy 4? I only played that once, didn't I? Did I play it as... I must have played another one and just lost track, right? I can't just be bugged. There's the cleanse. More shield, more growth. And let's just go ahead and get that out. There you die. Okay. Let's go ahead and pop you off because you'll just die. $71 damage from the turret. See what we draw. All right. You can go away. You're no longer needed. And that'll do. More curse. But we have enough cleanse to manage it. Okay. This should be lethal, I think. Yep. Yeah, we have 2 more fights after this. We don't, I think, want any of the other cards from this one. I just take the Contemplate. This one I may reroll once to try and get Dead of Night because I would love to have it. Dead of Night is actually very, very good for us because once we're hidden, we will never need to unhide. Alright, we aren't actually going to get to use that this turn. And even if we find, yeah, a turret, it was unlikely we would find enough mana to play the turret and use both of these, although it turns out we did. This is still worthwhile. Wow, doing very good work against the hidden. Although, alright, so give us the kill this turn, which is nice. Two mana, fill our entire hand, which in a lot of decks that would, like, that seems incredibly powerful, and in this deck it is, but there are a lot of decks where it would not have been a great idea to have sacrificed all of our... We're going to play this, which we'll use to transform that. Summon another turret. Just donk you, because this one's dying to this. And get some tough. Oh, some more tough. I realize now that I had said this was going to be a guide, and I've been kind of distracted from it being a guide. That kills all of these guys. They are now toast. That is very unfortunate. They will get off one last round of hits before they go. But obviously, I would have been happier if they hadn't all died. But that is kind of an inevitability when fighting this particular enemy. And that's why I didn't want to fight this guy if I could avoid it. Right, draw 6. We do need a lot of shield, because we are very, very poisoned. We're going to start with this, so that now we can shield, and then we get the kill. Alright, and we didn't end up taking any damage, so that's nice. And then I think I went to reroll once. Nope. I will take an adaptative spell. It's a very good card. And this one could be the hardest fight in the run, depending on how our draw sequence goes for the next fight. Okay. I really want to get tough up, but if I do this, now we're just going to do that. Because we can now alright. It should be pretty obvious that that was a pretty good turn one to be able to immediately nuke that. We are now losing this guy, which is unfortunate. Although no, we get very close to not, but this tough is going to get in our way. And we don't have any way to supercharge. So. Oh, but the tough, yeah, because we were tough, but our summon was not, and so our summon died. Which is unfortunate, because obviously that lost us quite a bit of value. And this one is no longer weak. But we can fix that. Get weakened. Trying to think what we're not playing this turn. I think we're not playing that. I'm going to transform this charge up into gunk. Get some mana. And then we'll go ahead and get more tough that way. So we find. Okay, another turret. And yeah, no, we can't just not do that every time we get the opportunity. It just does too much work to bring us towards our goals. So the nice thing is that unless one day changed it at some point during beta that I didn't notice, Baelator cannot touch our summons. Right, so now we are unfortunately going to take a bit of a beating because we're just going to get multi-hit here. And we are bleeding. I can clean the bleed. Not that it does a ton for us. But I don't hate trying to just dig for our healing, which I didn't find. That's fine. Okay. Pilfering Shell is potentially actually going to draw us cards, which is nice. Aura of Protection is probably more useful than the Purity at this point, because Baelator doesn't really do much in the way of debuffs. And now the Ferric Rime can go, because I do not think it is useful against Baelator. Is there anything else that I don't think is useful against specifically Baelator? Rocky Hide isn't amazing. Take a temporary buff? Nope. Okay, I'm hoping to get if I can get a temporary tough buff, that makes this fight a lot less risky. No such luck. This is potentially very good. I think it's better than than the plated. Again, Baelator just hits hard enough on every attack that, yeah, like there's just not, because you can see there, there's just not much value in blocking that with only a little bit. We do have to get rid of those purity stacks. Yeah, getting tough helps. And yeah, we aren't actually going to be able to get weak out, unfortunately. But all right. Deciding if I want to duplicate this summon. Yeah, I think so. All right. Let's see what happens. Okay. So we stand to take a lot of damage here. I would like to not take a lot of damage. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it, but I figured I would at least try. I should have just should have done things differently. Let's go and do that because it will draw 6 cards and pull us out of supercharge mode. Right, so unfortunately we don't quite have enough shield to remove here. We can draw more cards. Okay, this will work out well. And we can just get some more shield. Okay. Okay. We are already tough, and we already have Frost Barrier, so I think we're fine with discarding that. All right, and that is a win. And yeah, there was the one turn where we took damage, but just the one. And that's Baelator beaten. So yeah, that is a demonstration of how the Paladin summon deck works. It can work without Rallying Command, but without Rallying Command I would have had to have dedicated more to defense because I couldn't have finished out fights as quickly. But hopefully you find this useful. There should be a deck list, a link to the deck list in the description. And I'm planning to record some more Paladin videos, draw some more Paladin strategies in the future, and I will see you guys for those. But that's it for now. So until next time, toodles.